What's up, everybody? Ben Renzi here for Stokastic, talking PGA Travelers Championship. No, it's not the US Open. No, it's not a major. But yes, it's a strong field, an elevated event, an amazing course, one we see every year. There's a lot of money to be made in the DFS lobby. We're going to talk about the field, talk about the course, hopefully find some information courtesy of the tools here at Stokastic. I want to welcome you in to this channel, all things DFS. If you're not subscribed, you're going to miss out. You're going to be part of the first 100,000, I should say. We are so close. Take a look around, see if this type of content is what you've been missing in your process. Now, before we get to TPC River Highlands, yes, we should talk a little about the US Open and Rory. I'm still here. Rory's still here. It hurts, man. Not going to lie. I was actually on A Bear, but that's another story for another time. That's in the betting streets. You go to Hot for all that. Credit to Bryson. Amazing shot late. Obviously, we saw Rory melt late, missing putts that he just doesn't miss ever, like most pros. Tough way to lose, but it'll be a fascinating thing to see where he returns. He is not here. He withdrew. Everybody else is good to go. Of course, the live guys are not here. So the ball kind of rolls on. Obviously, we'll see what Scheffler does. He needs to rebound because he didn't win, which the expectations are that lofty. All in all, I thought it was a pretty cool US Open, some drama late, and we will see those storylines as they continue to unwind. We're going to talk about some guys that found something, Patrick Cantlay. We're going to talk about some guys that are really struggling, Justin Thomas, and everyone in between. So let's get to it. Let's see what we can find. Bring it up. Our data hub, part of the Sims, the tools, all of that. I will tell you how to get access to all this and more. And we're just going to start going through the players. Let's talk briefly about the course. I always like to start with the course. And again, it's TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut, kind of actually pretty close to me in the Northeast. It's probably going to be hot. It's really hot here. Super short technical track. This track is awesome, but there was a lot of rumblings last year that honestly, can they handle pros at this point? You're talking sub 7,000, very, very technical, and they don't have a lot of defense without weather. So you're going to see some scoring. There's no doubt about it. They've renovated the complex, but I'm not sure how much you can change. You've got a couple par fives that are very, very gettable. You're going to have a lot of short par fours where guys are hitting wedges, mid irons, bent POA splits on the greens if you want to. Total driving accuracy, certainly not driving distance. It doesn't mean that driving distance is irrelevant in the sense that, I mean, look at Bubba, look at DJ, look at some of these types. It just means that you don't need to do that. Jordan Spieth and Berger dueled here. Russell Knox. You're talking about a mix of short hitters and long hitters all coming to the same conclusion, which is that they can succeed here. So for me, the real big things, it's like most courses, I want my guys to have their irons dialed in. I think there's a decent chance it becomes a putting competition. And for some of that, we're going to need to get lucky if we target some of these bad putters that are certainly on my list. But this is a course. The main takeaways are it's short. I do think we're going to see some scoring. And we've seen it a lot before. There is something to, having played well at Pete Dye tracks and just playing well here. I think it does take a little bit to get used to, not just ruling out if you don't have good course history, but I do think that course history is more repeatable here than a random course. So let's dive into it and see what we've got. We've got Scotty Scheffler at 12.5. Again, this is early on Wednesday. These numbers can and will update. So don't take the ownership as gospel just yet. These are just broad strokes. He's going to be popular. We know that. He grades out very well. He's getting positive leverage. It shouldn't be, and I agree with this, the 40 or 50% that we saw leading up. 1 week will do that. And there's so many other ways to go outside of Scheffler. I don't think he's going to be crazy popular. Obviously, if you pay for him, you're going to have to punt, but there is no cut. So people are going to be more willing to do that. There's not much to say. Rory's not here. Xander and A Bear, that's all the options up top, which is interesting. Very, very interesting in the salary ranges when you look at that. So Xander is just doing his thing. Obviously, his season, it's already a success. He's got what he needed. He got his major. Doesn't mean he won't be ready to play. He was really good at the US Open once again, gained another 7 strokes with the approach. A little cheaper starting point. A Bear. That was my pick to win the US Open. I looked like a genius for a little while. Came in 12th. He putted really well. He struck it really well. He's just an elite player. I think we've known this for quite some time now. He can go anywhere and win. He was 10th at Heritage. I think that's an important data point. Really technical track. He was 8th at the Players, a technical track. He was 2nd at Pebble Beach, a technical track. I like him. I'm going to try to get over once again. If I had to rate the big three, it would be Abear 1, Scheffler 2, Xander 3. Again, ownership, leverage, things like that will tell the tale. Breaking into the nines, Morikawa, Cantlay, Hovland, Decky, Fleetwood, Sam Burns. So you look right now, Colin Morikawa is projected to be one of the highest owned players. I get that. Pure iron player. He should love this course. Um, you know, it's been a fine season for him, no doubt about it. He's got lofty expectations like most of these guys. He's been in a really good form lately. Inside the top 20 in 7 straight. Inside the top 5 in 3 of 4. He came in 14th at the US Open. He's dealing. He's doing what he needs to do. Not a lot of success at Travelers, a pair of missed cuts and a 36th. Obviously, for a player this good, that's not up to his standards. But there's nothing in his game where I'm like, oh, Morikawa sucks here because of this. Not really. Maybe he doesn't like the greens, something like that. But all in all, he can just really, really go to town on a layout like this. But one of the more fascinating guys is Patrick Cantlay. So Patrick Cantlay, this is the question. Did he find it? He gained 5 strokes on the approach and 5 strokes putting, came in 3rd at the US Open. That was off the tails of awful golf. Awful golf. Or was that an outlier? That is the question you need to answer. If you think it was an outlier, this is a good short. If you think he found something, this is a great buy. I'm in that camp. I think he found something. He absolutely destroys this place. 6 straight top 15s here. That's ridiculous. Uh, and I honestly think that he could win. I bet him at 20 to 1 over on the odd chopper side. He grades out reasonable. If he's sub 20% ownership, I will plan to get over on Patrick Cantlay. I like that spot for him this week. Looking at Hovland, Decky, Fleetwood, Sam Burns. Everyone's about neutral here. Fleetwood did what he does. He he posts and moves up the leaderboard at US Opens. Decky as well, just playing really quality golf. Don't have much to say about Hovland. Honestly, I'll let some of the tools do the work here. Hovland's proven that he's another guy that even though he's a crazy aggressive player, he can be effective at technical tracks when he needs to be. I still don't think it's the best suited place for him, but he does have a 3rd at the Players in 2023. His around the green game's awful. Not sure it'll be exposed here per se, but it's something to note. I mean, you can't just show up with a glaring leak in your game and then have a field of this caliber and expect to really win. I think that's a stretch, but he still can be in the pool, no doubt about it. Decky and Fleetwood, I think, were both reasonable. Sam Burns, last guy here. He's a great putter at times. If you want to comp to Valspar, and I know a lot of people that are doing that, I think that's very reasonable. Sam Burns is going to pop. 10th in Canada, 15th at the Memorial, 9th at the US Open. My biggest concern is that he's more of a Bermuda splits guy than anything else. But I get it. He has slightly negative leverage, but that can update very, very quickly. For me, if I had to rank the lower nines, it would be Fleetwood 1, Decky 2, Burns 3, but that's very close. I like Cantlay over Morikawa. Crashing into the 8s, Finau, Thigala, Keegan, Henley, JT, Connors, Harmon, Spieth, Tom Kim, and Fitzy. I'll get through this range pretty quickly. I like Tony Finau. He has awful course history here. I don't know what it is. I mean, partly it's that he can't putt, but when I think of Tony Finau, I think that he can actually play very well here. He's playing fantastic golf. He came in 3rd at the US Open. Tee to green, he's absolutely destroying courses. And I think that this is a good spot for him to certainly have his best finish at Travelers, but just a really outstanding week. 8,900, probably not a starting point, but definitely someone that's going to be a core play for me. Now, when we scroll down, I think you have different types of players. You've got Thigala, who almost won here. Makes a lot of sense. Probably a little more boom bust. You have Corey Connors, who's one of the more reliable players, but the ownership for him and Henley in particular are going to be there. You see Henley North just a tick over 20% right now, and I think that could be pretty accurate. Brian Harmon as well, another guy. He loves this course. It makes sense for him. He's not a long hitter. He can lean on his irons. He can lean on his putter. He can roll it. Very, very effective. Those are going to be kind of your, I don't want to say stable plays because this is golf, but I think you're going to see the ownership gravitate towards them. On the flip side, the wild cards. Justin Thomas. What do we do with Justin Thomas? I loved him at the US Open. I couldn't have been more wrong there. He was I have no explanation. His putter did not flip, but his irons did the wrong way. He had gained 4.1 strokes at the PGA on the approach and then 5.2 strokes at the Memorial on the approach, and then he lost 5.5 strokes on the approach at the US Open. That is just something I have no explanation for. You're not going to see the ownership that you would if he even just played standard last week. And for that reason, I definitely think in a non-cut, you can go right back to JT. But you have to know that the risk is there. And it's the same thing to me with Jordan Spieth, who maybe it's the wrist issue, maybe it's something else. Spieth obviously has shown he can handle this track. I think those two are the clear, I don't want to say leverage, but the clear boom bust options here. JT could and I think will be sub 10% owned. Jordan Spieth's not going to be popular because you have these stable players right above them and below them. Because the last two in the range are Tom Kim and Fitzpatrick. I think this is a really good setup for Tom Kim. Did a show yesterday, and we were talking about Tom Kim. Just a really, really good setup for how he plays. And when we've seen him succeed, he is not a great putter, but at times he's an elite putter. When he gets hot, he rolls it. And that's what you want when you're targeting guys in terms of ceiling. Tom Kim can do that. This is a great course for him. 8,100. He makes a lot of sense. Fitzy grades out, normal positive leverage. I have no problem with him. Just a standard play for me. So when you look at the range, I have a feeling I'm certainly gonna be over on Finau. I don't think I will get over on Henley, Connors, and Harmon. I plan to have them. I want to be clear, but if they're all hovering like 20%, I'm gonna have to take some small shorts of them. Maybe I have 10% of some of them. We will see what the Sims give me, but I will look. I like Tom Kim and Fitzy to round out the range. I could have teams that have 3 8K players in it and go really balanced. I don't mind that at all. I think that's actually a pretty interesting way to build. Before I get to the second half of the mid range, I do want to mention again, if you are looking for a process, come on in and try these tools out. They are a game changing process. It doesn't mean you just automatically print money. I wish it was. That's just not how it works. But what it does do is it can refine and add to whatever you're doing. I've always been someone that really likes to be hands on with my lineups, and I still am. I still run it through the contest generator, the contest simulator, and I get to review my results in the post contest sim. All things that have helped me just really have fix leaks quicker, see things that I wouldn't normally do. It's still, again, very, very difficult to win tournaments. We all know that. But come check out what these tools have done. If you've had success, certainly with basketball and MLB, and when NFL gets here, it's the same process here for PGA. So the link is below if you ever want to test it out. Lineup generator to the Sims to everything we've got at Stokastic. We'd love to have you as part of the team and give us feedback, good and bad. That's what we're here for. 7K range: Straka, Im, Lowry, Homa, Wyndham Clark, Adam Scott, Cam Young, Benyon, Siwoo, McCarthy, and Bez. Blah, 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 blah. We'll get to the second half. Kind of a dead range for me. Sanjay was another mistake at the US Open. Don't have an explanation. Just didn't have it. Really thought that the Bermuda and the technical layout would help him. Some of that I do think translates here, though. Not the Bermuda part, of course, but the technical track. I think Travelers is an objectively good setup for him. It's someone he's played this 3 times. He's made the cut all 3 times. Pretty standard. A couple in the 20s. 21st and a 29th. Last week was mostly putting, which is ironic considering that was the surface I wanted him on. So I'm not overly panicked by Sanjay. I think he's in the pool. Someone I'm still going to target. Max Homa, positive leverage. Wyndham Clark, positive leverage. Adam Scott really grades out. A lot of these guys, because they're not getting the ownership, are going to be positive leverage scores, and we will see how that checks out as things update. But really all it means is that we have their optimal percentage higher than their ownership, creating a void. Really, it's simple as that. Benyon has been driving it really well. Cam Young. So if you're going driver heavy, which may be an atypical skill set stack here, you could look to these type of players in this mid 7K tier. I think more people will probably go to the putters, and that's right below them. McCarthy, Bez, Day, Poston. Even Billy Ho. Those are more technical second shot course guys, and that's what the course is. So I totally get that. I'm gonna stick with Bez. I've been playing him a ton. People are playing him now. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't do it with the ball striking, he does it with the short game, but he does it. He's playing really, really good golf week in and week out. I'm not going to get off him. He was 32nd in the US Open. He has gained in 10 straight around the green and 9 out of 10 with the putter. He was 4th at Memorial, 17th at Charles Schwab. I will play Bez till he either breaks through or something terrible happens and he loses form. I just like that spot over and over and over at these prices. Round out the range, there's not a ton here. Harris English. Tom Hoagie will probably be the most popular play, and I get that at flat 7. He's an iron specialist. He can get really hot. Kind of more of a showdown guy for me. I think he gets more hot in spurts and then doesn't sustain it. You've got Pendrith as a driver. You've got Will Z as a super talent, but the game hasn't been there. And then Batia right at the top at 7,200. So I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but honestly, here, this is where the power of the tools will work for me. I don't have takes personally. I'm not going to manually boost any of these guys. If they show up in the pool, that's fine for me. If I had to throw one guy out and one guy in, I would throw Harris English out and I would throw Batia in, uh, but not enough to really do anything crazy because I think these guys are all pretty equal. It's not a range that I want to get a lot of in my lineups to begin with. Maybe last man in style. Let's see what we can do here with the salary savers in the the low sevens, high sixes. Bobby Mack, Chris Kirk, Justin Rose, Mackenzie Hughes, Austin Eckroat, Ben Griffin, Pavone, who is just always there somehow, Hadwin Glover. Hey, Ricky's here. He can't get cut. That's the only good thing I can say about that. Kurt Kitayama. I want to talk about Austin Eckroat. To me, this is a really interesting tournament play. Not a guy that I play a lot. He has played here a couple times. Nothing extreme by any stretch. He was 47th and 24th. What do I like? He gained 6.6 strokes putting combined over those 2 years. So it seems in a small sample size that he likes the greens. Last 2 weeks on tour, he's lost 11 strokes putting. Everything else has been fine. His around the green game is weak, but it's always weak. His putting is broken right now. What a good time to come to a course that historically he has really had success at with the putter. That is an interesting angle for me. I like him. He can score 6,800. I don't love the range. Give me Eckroat this week. I think you go to Lucas Glover. This is where skill set stacks to me come into play. If you want a scrambler, you're going to go to Mackenzie Hughes. If you want some irons, you're going to go to Glover. If you want to lose, probably go to Ricky. There's not much to say there. I tried that a couple weeks ago. It didn't work. Seamus, 6,500. Another guy that fits these type of courses. Positive leverage. Only a couple percent owned. We'll see if that updates. But at 6,500, you definitely can look to him. I want to give a shout out to Michael Thornbornson. We saw him as an amateur compete. He's gotten some reps against strong fields in Dubai and whatnot. He's going to be a player. I think there's no doubt about it. You can do one of two things. You can wait and see, and if you wait and see and he is really good, you're going to miss out on his least ownership, least price that'll probably ever be. Or if he's not ready, you will avoid people who try to be a hero and try to buy here. If he's not going to be popular at all, I might take a flyer or two just because why not? But other than that, I will tend to be more wait and see. He's not a core player or anything for me. I'm going to go with the masses. And again, down here, I don't think there'll be crazy ownership on anyone, but Svensson is going to be a lot more popular, and I think he should be. I played this guy, it's got to be for like over a month straight, and I can't even tell you how it's going. That's the fascinating part about it. He makes the cut every week, and he does nothing. He came in 56th at the US Open, 27th at Memorial, 51st in Canada, 24th at Charles Schwab, 43rd at the PGA, 47th at Wells Fargo, 44th at Heritage. His putter is so incredibly bad. He lost 6 strokes at the US Open again, but he likes easy courses. He's ball striking numbers are better than this range, and his putter can't be worse. It has to flip at some point. I know I've been saying that, but it is true. If Svensson continues to strike it like this, I will continue to play him. And he's not killing me, even at 64. Obviously, making the cut is not a concern this week in this small field. I'm going to just go to him. Grillo, I think, makes sense. My guy, he's fine. He made the cut at the US Open. 5 straight positive with the irons. He was 15th here last year. Just sign me up for that. I mean, these guys are all playable. There's no doubt this isn't like a normal field. These are all good players. Webb and Nick Taylor, Shank, Knapp, Todd, Goddard, Malnati. I hope not to really have any stands with these guys. If I go very aggressive, say I go Scheffler, Abear, I might have to go to like Adam Shank, and I'm okay with that, or Jake Knapp, and hope that I can be really aggressive off the tee or something. But all in all, I don't think that that's the theme of the week for me. The theme of the week for me is the 8K range right in here. Finau, Tom Kim, JT, Fitzy, combos. Take a couple guys at the bottom, maybe Sanjay and Benyon. Round it out and see what we have left. Grillo, Svensson, Austin Eckroat types. If you have any questions, I know I ran through a lot of these guys, or on what you're seeing on the screen, what these tools can do, at JazzRaz DFS. Absolutely happy to help anytime. You can always message us. You get in Discord. We're here. That's what we want to do. We want to showcase this and everything that we're doing on the Stokastic side. And if you like betting, just go to oddchopper.com. You're going to see me and the whole team. We're doing a lot of exciting things over there. We would love to have you as part of the team, dropping some golf picks. Again, but any questions, Jazz, Raz, DFS. Friends, let's have a week. I know it's a non-cut. I know it's not a major. But you know what? If you win a tournament, you're not going to care where it is. And Travelers Championship is as good a time as any to do just that. So for me, for the Travelers Championship field and everyone here at Stokastic, have a great week. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon.